Welcome to the Geeky Gaming Girl. I'm Nikki, and today I'm going to review Quantum, a game designed by Eric Zimmerman and John Sharp, with art by Kiernan Yanner and George Boujlagem, and published by Funforge. Quantum plays 2 to 4 players, using these oversized dice as ships as you move around the galaxy, trying to be the first player to construct and plant all of your quantum cubes on the planets. Let's start the setup. There's a separate instruction sheet that details how to place the planet tiles, depending both on the number of players and how experienced you are with the game. Here, I've set up for a basic 2-player game. Every player has their own board, called a command sheet. There are no special powers or any difference in these beyond the different colors and graphics. I've set up for the blue and yellow command sheets. Along with the command sheet, each player gets 7 of their colored dice and 5 of their quantum cubes. There will be some quantum cubes left over. Those can go back to the box because they're for use with an advanced map setting. Place 2 dice on the command board, one in the upper left dominant square and one in the upper right research square. These dice should be set to 1. Set 2 dice off to the side of your command sheet on the left and roll the remaining 3 dice. These 3 are going to be your starting ships. You can re-roll these 3 ships once, but once you have re-rolled them, you have to live with that second roll. The first player is whoever has the lowest ship, and they place one of their quantum cubes on a starting planet. The starting planets are indicated on the map information sheet. Going clockwise, every other player also places one of their cubes on a starting planet. And then, starting with the first player, everyone takes their ship that are dice and places them on the planets they placed their cube. To start, you set your ships in orbital positions, which are indicated by the squares that are in the orthogonal positions around the planet, above, below, and to the sides. The diagonal positions around the planet are for movement and can be used in attack defense, but they don't count as orbiting the planet. Lastly, you separate and shuffle the 2 types of advancement cards. There are gambit cards that are darker, command cards that are lighter. Each of these forms their own draw pile next to the map, and you turn the top 3 cards face up next to the piles. The combat are the black and white pair of dice, and they can also be placed next to the map. And that's how you set up the game. The end goal is, of course, to be the first one to get all of your quantum cubes placed on planets before your opponents. As soon as one player places their last cube, the game immediately ends. Let's get back to your dice ships. I'll refer to them mostly as ships from here on out. Every die number on your ship represents a different ship type. Those are detailed in the instructions and also helpfully on your command sheet. Each ship has special powers and special moves. On your turn, you'll perform actions in Phase 1 and collect advancement cards in Phase 2. There's 5 actions to be taken, and you can take up to 3. Note that you can take an action more than once. The first action is to reconfigure, and that simply means re-rolling your ship. If you roll the same number you had before, you do get to re-roll it until it's different. The second action is deploy, which is where you relocate a ship from your scrapyard, which is where a ship goes when it's destroyed in battle, to an orbital position around any planet with your quantum cube and a free orbital spot. The third action is move and potentially attack. Here, you move your ship up to as many spaces as the ship number. You don't have to use all of the moves if you don't need them. You attack an opponent's ship by moving into the same space, and it's good to note a ship can only attack once per turn. We'll come back to attacks in a moment. The fourth action actually uses 2 of your actions, and that's constructing a quantum cube. There's a few rules for placing the cubes. You can only have 1 of your color cubes per planet, and to place it down, you must have ships in orbital positions around the planet. Additionally, those ships have to total exactly the value of the planet. Ships that are in a diagonal space and opponent's ships don't count. The last action is research, which means you add 1 to your research die that's in the upper right corner of your command sheet. Once the research die reaches 6, you achieve a scientific breakthrough, and you get to select any advanced card in Phase 2. Now each ship has a special ability, and that special ability can be used once per turn and does not count towards your total number of actions. And again, each of these abilities is described on the command sheet. Phase 2 is collecting advance cards, either Gambit or Command. Gambit cards are a one-time use, while the command cards give you an ongoing ability. Along the right side of your command board, there's the space for 3 command cards to be placed. If you acquire a 4th command card, you'll have to get rid of one of the other ones to use it. You collect cards for the amount of quantum cubes you've placed this turn, and if your research die has reached 6. Let's get back to attacking. When you attack, you move your ship halfway into the opponent's ship space. The attacker takes the black weapons die, and the defender takes the white defense die. They both roll and add those rolls to their ships. The lower sum of the ship plus extra die is the victor. Now, if there's a tie or the attacker wins, then the opponent's ship is destroyed. They'll re-roll it and place it in their shipyard. The attacker gains 1 dominance and the loser loses 1 dominance, but you can't go below 1. Also, the attacker can either move their ship into that other ship's space or return to the last square it was in. Now, if the attacker loses, their ship simply goes back to the space they were in right before they attacked. There's no change in anyone's dominance. Once your dominance reaches 6, you can immediately place a quantum cube anywhere on a planet where you don't have a cube already, regardless of whether there's a ship of yours in orbit or not. And that's how you play Quantum. I'm really into components and I like these big oversized dice. They're much more fun to roll than regular dice. The quantum cubes are pretty adorable too. The player boards, however, are amazing. Really good quality. They have everything you need for information about the dice on here. There's all of your player actions and details on how to do those. So these are really great. Even the rule book is really great. The paper is thick and smooth. There's lots of really good examples in here for helping you out when you have new players. They also detail the different factions of humanity that are here, that are the characters that you're playing. So it's a really good quality. They've really thought things out as far as the opponents goes. One thing I really like about the dice is that I'm usually not into dice games, but the cool thing about this is that when you have bad rolls, there are ways around it. There's an action that you can use that will be able to re-roll a dice. There's a dice that automatically gets to get re-rolled. So there's a lot of cool ways to get around a bad roll. Speaking of bad rolls, when it comes to combat, there's no downside to attacking, because the worst thing that happens on your turn is your ship has to go back to the square that it was just in. Now, that doesn't mean that someone might not in a future turn get revenge on you if you've destroyed one of their ships, but as far as immediate repercussions go, there's no downside to attacking, because you attack, and if you lose, the worst case is you have to go back to your own space. So I really like that part of it. It's a really fun, accessible game. It's not overly complicated. It's not too heavy. So I found that it's a really good game for people who are relatively new gamers. If they haven't really gotten into a whole lot of games yet, I think this is a really good game from experience that we have had people play with us and they've enjoyed it. Overall, of course, I really like the space theme. I'm big into astronomy and stargazing and constellations and all of that. And so this is one of 5 games that we have in our collection for space, which is a lot of fun for me. So anyway, I am curious. Have you played Quantum? And if you have, what did you think about it? And in the comments below, feel free to leave some recommendations for other space games that you enjoy. And that's it for Quantum. As always, I hope you stay safe and stay healthy. And sometime soon, I hope you get your game on.